Hello?
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So are you in Ireland or are you
I
in,
am. I'm in Ireland at the moment. I live in London, but I'm in Ireland.
okay, that's amazing. My family is from Donegal.
No
So
way.
yeah, so I've been going back and forth there for a few years. It's like one of my favorite places in the world. I love it there.
Nice. Where are you based right now?
In New York.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, so that's why we had a little issue with the time difference, kind of coordinating something that would work. But
Yeah, so
we did. So tell me
all
about,
good. We're here now.
yeah, we're here, we're ready to go. It's 11 a.m. for me, so I'm still, you know, in the morning phase. Tell me about you guys in quarantine. The question I always ask my artists when I talk to them is, what has life in quarantine been like for you, both creatively and just as a band? Are you guys together? Are you separate? What's that looking like for you?
Yeah, we've both kind of been split. We've been separated for parts, and we've been together for parts. But when we're together, it's great because we bubble up together, and we only kind of see each other mainly like around the time of like releases, and so with that comes a lot of promo and stuff. So I live in London, so I'll come back and I'll like quarantine, and then after that we kind of only see each other just so we can work all the time.
That's amazing. So you guys have still been actively working on music throughout everything that's going on.
Yeah. I've been writing a lot. Been working on a lot of new music, which has been great. It's kind of been the only creative kind of outlet we can have. So I suppose just using that to our advantage and trying to write as many songs as possible. Because sometimes, and I'm not sure when it happens or when touring gets back, but sometimes it can be quite hectic because you can go from like doing shows to suddenly having to try and write like a bunch of new songs and being back doing shows and then getting back trying to finish those songs. So it's like nice to kind of have all this time to just not even mess around, but just kind of try new things and to see what happens.
That's good, because also I think people really need music right now. Ultimately, everyone needs a creative outlet, whether it be the music that we're putting out or the way people are receiving it. So I think it's super important that, everyone keeps trying during this time. I'm sure it's like definitely harder because you can't get the thrill from, seeing your fans and that sort of thing and playing live. I don't know how ultimately important that is for you guys, your live show, but I know a lot of artists I've spoken to say it's hard to not be kind of feeding off that energy anymore.
Yeah, really hard. Live for us is such a massive thing, and it always has been. We absolutely love playing live. It's kind of how we started out, was like just playing shows all the time, and yes, it's really, really, really hard. But I mean, we're just trying to stay positive and stay in a good headspace and just release as much music as possible so that when the time does come around to play live shows again, we can have bigger and better live shows with longer sets. And yeah,
people aren't going to want to leave. They're just going to want to stay.
We won't want to leave. We won't want to leave. We'll be like, and now it's our fourth encore, and people are like, okay, I really have to get home. I'm going to miss my last train.
Definitely. I think it's so nice to talk to someone with such a positive attitude about it. Something else I wanted to touch on. I know you said you live in London. Something that I have not a lot, but some of my closest friends live in London. A few of them are in bands there. And something I have learned about that whole scene is that I feel that we don't have this in New York or even very much in the US, where a bigger artist or a bigger band will really like work to promote someone who's kind of just starting out. There's a lot of support there, I think, whether it be, I know now you guys got very popular when Niall posted to his story, I think, on Instagram about your song, and I feel like there's this mentorship that goes on with like UK based artists. Do you think that's something that you've experienced?
Yeah, totally. I think it happens a lot in Ireland too. I think there's a great kind of music community in a way, and it's like lots of different people. I find in London, people just like to be out and like to be doing things, and you cross paths with so many other musicians that you end up hanging out with, or you might just go and go to the studio with or write with. And this is kind of that's the great thing about London, is you just don't know, obviously pre-pandemic, but like you could just go out for a beer and you don't know where you could end up. It's like you could end up at a show, and then after the show you could end up going to a studio with someone and writing a song. It's like anything is kind of possible.
Like that. It's insane. It's so interesting that it doesn't seem like there's as much of a form of competition as there is. I feel like here in music, it's very much like cutthroat and like, focusing on yourself and making your music better. But I know that there, it's like everyone's kind of just like in this community of music. It's more, people are sharing more, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the scene in Ireland at all, because I've never really like experienced it, but it sounds similar.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely similar. And you notice with like, when we were first kind of starting out, it was like Codaline took us on a European tour. And then we've toured with The Script. We've been in the studio with The Script. We've toured with Niall. There's a great sense of community, and it is an amazing thing, because I think good music is just good music, and it's not like other businesses where you have to fight for sales. I don't think. Maybe you do sometimes, but what's the point in not supporting other artists and not supporting other art? It's just a form of creativity, and a great song is a great song, and it deserves to be heard by everyone it can be heard by. So it's like, I don't think if someone writes an amazing song and I try and put that song down, or I don't post about that song, or I don't write them and tell them that song's great, that my song is going to suddenly do better than theirs. It's like, why not all just kind of be kind to each other and just appreciate the hard work and effort that goes into writing a song or recording a song or performing a song, and support that, and make it a community and make it a family-like place where people support one another. I think that's the whole beauty of music.
Exactly. I completely agree. And I think also from a fan perspective, it's always great to, if you really like an artist and you really like their music, it's just a natural progression of things to want to know what they are listening to, or, their contemporaries and people who are inspiring them, because ultimately that's probably what's going into their music and what makes it unique, I guess. But sure. So just getting into your new release, what has that been like? The first time I listened to the song, it just put me in such a good mood, which I feel like is ultimately a little bit harder right now, because it seems like the state of things is very dismal. But what was the process of making that like? Was it as fun as it sounds? Because it sounds very, like, it must have been very fun.
It was very, very fun. It was probably too much fun, actually. Well, it was like, so when we had released our first EP and I was kind of going back into the studio to start working on new music, and obviously you always want things to progress, you always want to grow as an act, and you want to try new things. You don't want to just settle in your lane where you just become that band where everyone's like, oh, everything sounds the same. I always kind of want to try and grow. So we done the first EP, and the first EP had been received very well, and I wanted to just build on that a little bit. I kind of gone back in studio, and I always find the like start of the writing process kind of funny. You've so many ideas and you're so excited, but because of that, you sometimes land on one thing. So you want to try everything, and you've all these lyrics, and everything's kind of just a mess. So you go through like the first couple of days where you might kind of get nothing. It's like cleaning out an old cupboard before you can actually get down to the
like trickle down effect of what works.
Yeah, and like get down to the kind of bare room that you can start rebuilding, and making it look really pretty. And I remember we were in the studio, and I was with another writer who I write with a lot called Danny Shah, and our producer Jimbo Barry, and we were in there. And to be honest, with these guys, I always love writing with these guys because we always get something. You know, we always have fun and we always get something. And I'd had a kind of couple of bad sessions before where I just hadn't really got anything, and I was a bit like confused. But I was like, oh, I've got a session with like Jimbo and Danny. That's going to be good. You know, we always get something good. And we went in, and honestly, for the first 5 hours, we kind of like just didn't have anything, and I was like, have I lost it? Like, can I not write anymore?
No.
Like, you know,
definitely not. We can confirm now that you haven't. But
I started questioning everything, and then I remember me and Danny were over at the piano, and we just started singing the "'Cause it don't matter what we do tonight, look at you." And we were like, oh, like, you know, and then we got like super excited, and then it was fun. And then Danny was like, I have to go to the toilet, you know, let's like get something down. And he went up, and there was actually a bar upstairs in the studio, and he came down with like a magnum bottle of champagne. And he's like, we have to call the song Champagne Butterflies. And I was like, yes. And then like we started drinking champagne, and then we started putting the song down, and it was a real breakthrough moment for what like the kind of, it totally kind of cleared everything in my head of how I knew the kind of the second batch of songs were going to go. So yeah, that was a really memorable day in the studio, and it was so much fun to write and to work up, and yeah, it was great.
I love that because you can absolutely, it translated 100% to the sound of the song. Like, it just makes sense. Like, you want to be having a good time or drinking champagne when you're listening to that song.
Yeah.
So do you predominantly do the like lyric writing, the songwriting? What does the breakdown of the band kind of look like for you guys?
Well, I'm the songwriter for Wild Youth. I play the piano, and then Dave is obviously the singer. Ed plays the guitar, and Callum plays the drums. So yeah,
you guys all kind of have a say in like when you're writing. Are you all together, or will it just be like you, like you said, in the session, or is it kind of different every time?
It will be just me in a session, and I'll kind of get, let's say, like a demo kind of version of a song, and then I'll play that to the guys. I'll make sure that they like it, and then I'll get everyone's input, obviously, and then obviously Dave will put his vocals on it and his interpretation of how he wants the vocals to sound. Ed will put his guitar down, and Callum will put drums down.
Amazing.
So everyone adds their own little flavor.
Yeah, exactly. It's a group effort for sure. I just think that, you know, I can't imagine, I mean, doing what I do is pretty creative. And so being able to work with, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 other people and all having your own individual say, but also making it completely unique to each one of you is like an interesting process that I feel would probably be difficult at first. I don't know. Or did it just naturally happen with you guys that, you know,
it kind of just naturally happened. I always was more kind of, I always lent more towards like songwriting. Dave is an amazing performer and vocalist. Ed's an incredible guitarist, and Callum's an amazing drummer. So it's like, and I think we're all very open. We're super close, and we're like best friends, as cliche as that is for a band to say, but we are.
We love it.
we are like best friends. We're very trusting of each other's opinions. So it's actually always just a fun process, you know, like when the song's done, we have a demo, and then me and Dave will go in and he'll do vocals, and we'll go back and forth on that. And same when Ed comes in to do guitar, we'll go back and forth on that and mess around with ideas. And it's kind of like a very positive, creative process. You know, it's like no one's like, this is my time and this is what I'm going to do. And,
right.
You know, like just like if I show them a song and they go, oh, what would it not be better if we did this? And I'm like, oh yeah. You know, it's like 4 brains.
Right, that's why you have the other voices.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all very open to change, and we're all very open to criticism, and you know, we're very open-minded people, and we look at criticism as constructive as opposed to negative.
Right. That's definitely a good mindset that I can't say. I know a lot of musicians are definitely the opposite, so it's good that kind of have that ideology. And also your style, aesthetically, the way you guys dress is so, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not too, there's like this whole e-boy movement, right, going on, but like it's very like authentic. And also I think bands from the UK have a more distinct sense of style. Like, you're not afraid to take risks. You feel that way about you guys, like the way you present yourselves and the way you dress?
Yeah, for sure. I think we just dress how we want to dress individually. And I think then collectively, when it comes together, it kind of works, which is great. Well, I hope it works. It works for us, and we're happy with what we wear. We're kind of the opinion you just wear what you want to wear. And, you know, like my mom brought me up. If I wanted to wear a dress when I was 10, I could have worn a dress. She's like so chill with that. And she was quite creative, and she was very into fashion. So like from a very early age, I've kind of always just worn what I wanted to wear all the time. And the guys are the same. And whatever people are comfortable in, we don't really like. I'm sure some people hate how we dress, but to be honest, we don't really care once we feel comfortable and we're happy with what we wear. And yeah, that's kind of just what we do. And we don't overly think about it too much. We just do what each individual person is comfortable wearing. And then collectively, when it comes together, you either hope it works. I'm sure there's a lot of photo shoots that we've done where it collectively didn't work and looked like a mess.
That's the side you don't see.
Yeah. They're the ones that stay in my email.
Oh my God. Well, it's been amazing to talk to you. What I always close my interviews out with is, I guess this might be hard because you're not with the rest of your band, but what's one thing you wish you could have told yourself in the beginning of what you started, and what's one thing you want to ask yourself from when this comes to its like ultimate fruition?
I think what I would have told myself at the start is just to be patient. Just like I always find when people get into music, they want everything to happen now. And it's like, sometimes when I look back and I'm like, the things I wanted to happen at the very start, we totally weren't ready for. And just to kind of, you know, I'm reading this book at the moment called The Power of Now, and just kind of work really hard and let life just do its thing, you know, and like things will happen if they kind of deserve to happen. If you work hard enough and you put all the graft in, and and like write great songs, I always believe that things will happen. And what would I ask myself at the end? God.
I know, it's like kind of a thinker.
No, it's not a secret. I would just ask myself, was I happy with how it all went? Maybe.
Yeah.
Was I happy? Did I achieve everything I wanted to achieve? Did I achieve everything I thought I could achieve?
I love that. Well, it's been so great to talk to you. I'm so excited for what you guys have coming. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your quarantine. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Same to you too.
And hopefully, we'll see you guys live soon.
Can't wait. Thank you so much.